Let me just mention that correlation one more time. We strive for more because we feel incomplete. Now, for me, this assessment with which I basically agree serves as a kind of barometer to measure what defines us. We are defined by how we choose to fill this gnawing sense of incompleteness. And this leads to an appraisal of whether we fill our lives with superficialities or with substance. The choices are obviously ours to make, but is how we fill our lives an indicator of that which defines who we are? Is how we fill our lives, does that really show us how or what it is that defines us? Do we fill our lives for the purposes of our own gratification, or do we feel more complete when we fill our lives with an awareness of others with whom we share this earth, and of course, concern for the earth itself? So is it for, getting stuff for ourselves, being sensitive to others, and I think Occupy Salt Lake City really makes this kind of distinction quite obvious in how we choose our lives, how we define our lives. Another way of asking the question, do we fill our incompleteness with stuff, or do we fill this incompleteness with meaning? We would then be defined by what we perceive as meaningful. But quite honestly, I wonder if that is really the answer to what defines us, primarily because I think we would all agree meaning lies beyond definition. True story. A colleague of mine once preached on the meaning of life. He was asked to leave that church about a month after the sermon. Not because it was really a bad sermon, but it came across as just muddled incoherence. You can't capture life's meaning and put it in a box and say, ta-da, there it is. So if we're defined by something that lies beyond definition, then we're spinning our wheels, which may in fact be precisely what we're doing. So what I'd like to do at this point is interject what I believe to be the purpose of religion. The purpose of religion, even for us liberal types, if not specifically aimed at us liberal types. The purpose of religion is to gather confidence that meaning at least exists, even if we can't wrap our arms around it. I think religion asks of us to trust that meaning not only exists somewhere on the other side of the rainbow, but that it fuels our optimism, allows us to put one foot in front of the other, pick ourselves up when we stumble, and contributes to a certain vitality in human life itself. So as I consider more fully what defines us, I move away from objects, from biology, and the grandiosity of thinking that, well, we can grasp life's meaning. What gains considerable traction in my efforts to tackle this loaded question is that I believe that we are defined by love. Now, try not to throw up, because I'm going to make it a little more clear what I mean by the fact that we are defined by love. A most basic theological concept, either using God or not, it really doesn't matter in this case, but a basic theological concept in the whole theological world is that there are fundamentally two modes of existence. One is in the form of power, and the other in the form of love. In more familiar jargon, the two modes break down as people either taking or people giving. That is, people capitalizing on the misstep of others, or people forgiving their trespasses. A lack of love relates to destruction. A life of love relates to creation. So using the image of the white water, the white river, using the image of the wilderness, I think those images show exactly what I'm driving at, because you've got this continuum. How do you approach the wilderness? You've got this continuum of power and love, destruction, creation. Our lives, driven by power with the need to take and accumulate for ourselves, is mostly, I believe, motivated by fear. We are afraid that we will not fill our incompleteness with the treasures that we cherish. We wait to strike at the vulnerable times of others so we can get the right job. We can get the promotion. We can get our kids into the right pre-K. We can get them into the right college. We can get even the man or woman we hope to marry. The whole thing comes down to we live in a taking kind of world, a taking kind of existence. Love. To live in the mode of love means living with the acceptance of our human condition, which proclaims that nobody has power over anyone else. Love, which I identify as being tender, is tender only because it transcends the mode of taking. The hands of love, according to the Dutch theologian Henry Nouwen, the hands of love don't take, they don't grasp, they don't hold. The hands of love caress. What a great image when trying to understand what defines us. Do we live with love, caress the world and others, or do we grasp, hold, and take? In the New Testament chapter of 1 John, reference is made to God as love and the light. But even leaving the deity out of the picture, the author says that if we live our lives in the light, we are then in union with one another. This does not say a lot about what defines us. We live tenderly in union with others. That's one way we can fill our lives. Or we are filling this incompleteness by taking, grasping from others. Now, Thomas Merton makes clear that love, is not just something that happens to you. Love is a certain way of being alive. It's an intensification of life. And what's more, it offers a sense of fullness. So imagine what it might mean to fill this sense of incompleteness with love. I mean, do we think we came into this world to take or to live in communion with others? Let me share with you one of the more beautiful words on this topic, written by a scientist, no less, Stephen Jay Gould. He says, "We cannot win this battle to save species and environments without forging an emotional bond between ourselves and nature as well. And here's the punchline, for we will not fight to save what we do not love. We will not fight to save what we do not love." And so I take this to mean that our lives are defined by what we love. And if we're in love with the environment, for example, then we live our lives accordingly. Without love, the environment is there for our taking, our grasping, our destruction. Our hands, if not filled with love and caressing and tenderness, our hands are there to grasp. Stephen Jay Gould, I believe, refers not to the grasping of hands, but precisely to hands caressing flowers, habitats, indeed, the people whom we love. According to, probably my favorite theologian, Reinhold Niebuhr, love is the law of life. When the law is broken, consequences are felt. Is that not precisely what we're feeling today? Isn't that what our depression is all about, and the economic and political and social destruction, the devolvement of them all? Don't we feel this way because what has been broken is the law of life? Love. There is no love in all these transactions, economically and socially. We are swept up in this display of economic power, the taking and the grabbing, which rejects ever living in the light of union with other people, with other species, with care, with caressing and love. So yeah, myriad approaches exist to what we believe defines us. Perhaps if I were a scientist or a museum curator, I would not be so aligned with the theological understanding. But I find that love, or the absence of love, a key variable to what it is that defines us. Love represents a connection with the rest of life. Indeed, I agree, I will only fight to save what I love, to that with which I feel so emotionally connected. If we agree with the premise that we have this insatiable desire for more, that as humans we can suppose an innate sense of incompleteness, then are we not defined by the extent to which love fills our incompleteness? We are defined by our relationship to other people, to nature, to all sentient beings. We are motivated by the power of love. We are motivated either by taking or giving. It's our choice. We're motivated by destruction or creation. Our choice. I don't think we're defined by our jobs, by our hobbies, or even the jokes we tell. I don't think we're defined by our toolbox, by what we paint, or even our DNA. We're defined by our approach to the world, by hands that either take or hands